be doing an eyeshadow look on this look here. Kind of like an eyeshadow for beginners because I realized not everybody's just gonna know how to do a smoky eye or certain eyeshadow looks. And when I started makeup, I remember I would go on Instagram or like different places and I would be like, why doesn't my eyeshadow look like that? You know, this and that. And then I realized like some tips and whatever, and I'm not an expert and I don't claim to be an expert. These are just things that helped me along the way. And so yeah, if you want to see how I got this look, then just keep on watching. So the first thing that you're going to need to start off by doing is priming your eyelids. And the good thing about priming your eyelids is that you have so many options. You can just choose to put concealer with powder on your eyelids, or you can go the extra mile and put an actual eyeshadow primer. And the reason you want to prime your eyelids is so that your eyeshadow can stay on all day, because if you don't, within an hour your eyeshadow is going to be sliding off and it's going to just not look good. And the next thing that's most important is the right brushes. You could have the most expensive eyeshadow, but it's never going to matter if you don't have the right brushes. And so the brushes you're going to need for starting off with your eyeshadow is having a blending brush, a more dense blending brush, a smudger brush, and a flat shader brush. And what these are going to do is the blending brushes are going to help your eyeshadow to be more smoky, and the flat shader is going to help to pack on the color. And so I'm going to be using the Naked palette today because I feel like so many people have this. And so the first thing you're going to do is get a transition color, and the transition color isn't so that it can show up later, because once you're done with your eyeshadow you're probably not even going to see it anymore, but it's just so that later on your eyeshadows will be easier blended, and it's also so that your eyeshadows can have something to build up on. And so I'm going to be taking this really fluffy blending brush and the color Naked, which is just like a light brown shade, and putting this all over the crease. And you don't have to have this eyeshadow, you can just have any eyeshadow. This is just what I'm using. And you don't have to put this on in any particular way, you just throw that on. It doesn't have to be perfect, it can be as messy as you need it to be. And you're going to put this all over the crease, but you're not going to put it all over the eyelid or on the brow bone. And you're just going to keep putting that on until you have the color that you desire. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be doing is taking the color Buck, which is just a more dark brown, with the more dense blending brush. And I'm going to be taking this all over the crease as well, but mainly focusing it on the outer part of my eye. And when you're doing your eyeshadow, you want to remember that less is more. If you just go in with a heavy hand and you put too much eyeshadow on, you're just going to take so much time having to go back and blend, when if you just put a little bit at a time and you just build it up, it's going to go so much faster. So now I'm just going to be taking the same blending brush that we used in the beginning with no additional product, and just going over all of that so that there's no harsh lines, because you don't want your eyeshadow to look choppy, you want it to look very blended. And if you were going out or you want it to be more dramatic, then you could put a black in here or more dark brown, but I'm just going for a daytime look. And so the next thing I'm going to be doing is taking the, I'm going to be taking the flat shader brush with the color Virgin, which is just a really light color, and I'm going to be putting this on the brow bone. And for me, I feel like this really ties the look together and it helps blend out the colors that you used earlier. So you're just going to be putting that on your brow bone and just blending that all through the brow bone. And And now I'm going to go back in with the fluffy blending brush and just blending everything out. And now the next thing I'm going to be doing is taking my lid color. And for my eyelid, I'm going to be using Sin, which is just a really pretty champagne shade. And I'm going to be putting that all over my eyelid. And a trick to eyeshadow is that if it's not coming out as pigmented as you would want it to, you could just add some setting spray or some eye drops. And I just add some Fix Plus to my brush just so that the color can come off how it looks in the pan. So I'm just going to be putting that all over my eyelid, but not in the crease. And I'm only going to be going about 3/4 of the way with this because I'm going to be taking a different color in a minute and putting that on the outer part of my eyelid. And so now I'm going to be taking the color Sidecar. And this is just a really light brown shimmery shade. And I'm going to be putting this on the outer part of my eyelid so that my eyeshadow can have a little bit more dimension. And the thing about putting dark colors is that you don't want to put them in the inner part of your eye. You want to put them more on the outer part so that your eyeshadow can have a lot of dimension and your eyes will look bigger. And so the next thing I'm going to do is just take a clean makeup wipe, and I'm going to be going along the edge of my eyeshadow just to clean it up. And I know a lot of people use tape for this, and sometimes I use tape, but I feel like this is so much easier than using tape. And I don't know if you can see that, but it just goes so much nicer, and it just gives such a sharp line so that when you're going to go apply your eyeliner, everything just goes so easy. So I went to go finish the rest of my makeup because I always do my bottom lash line last, and obviously you can skip lashes and whatever, but that's just what I like, so that's what I did. And so the next thing that I'm going to be doing is just taking a different flat shader brush and taking the color Virgin again, the one that we put in our brow bone, and I'm just going to be putting this in my inner corner, and it really just brightens up the eye. It just makes you look so awake, and that's probably my favorite part of makeup. And so yeah, I'm just going to be putting that in the other eye just the same way. And since this is more of a daytime look, I'm not going to be making the bottom lash line really dramatic, so I'm just going to be going with Buck and putting that all over. And if you want this look to be more dramatic, then obviously you can put some eyeliner in your waterline or something, but don't really feel like doing that. So I'm just going to be putting Buck all over my bottom lash line. And I like to put some shadow on the bottom lash line because otherwise I feel like the top looks just too top heavy. And now I'm just going to be taking my mascara. This is just the Bare Real mascara. I don't really like it, but what can you do? Yeah. I'm just going to be putting some mascara on my bottom lashes. And that's all for this look. So thank you for watching, and like and subscribe.